Marcus Williams had been cleaning Memorial Hospital's halls for 12 years. Patients loved his gentle demeanor. Nurses appreciated his quiet efficiency, and doctors trusted him completely. But when Canine Officer Martinez brought his German Shepherd partner Ace for a routine security sweep, the dog's reaction to Williams was immediate and terrifying. Ace backed away, hackles raised, growling like he'd encountered pure evil. What the police found in Williams' locker would reveal that the kindest janitor in the hospital had been collecting trophies from victims no one knew were connected. Welcome to Saved by Tales. Before we dive into this chilling story of a canine's instincts exposing a serial killer hiding in a place of healing, tell me in the comments, have you ever had an animal react with fear or aggression to someone that everyone else found harmless and friendly? And if you believe these incredible stories of animal instincts protecting us from hidden dangers deserve to be told, hit that subscribe button and join our community celebrating the four-legged heroes who can smell evil that completely fools human judgment. Marcus Williams was the kind of employee every hospital administrator dreamed of having. In 12 years at Memphis Memorial Hospital, he'd never called in sick, never complained about overtime, never caused any trouble with staff or patients. He worked the night shift, quietly mopping floors and emptying trash cans while the hospital slept. At 58, Williams was thin and unremarkable, with graying hair and wire-rimmed glasses that gave him a scholarly appearance. He moved through the halls like a ghost, so unobtrusive that most people barely noticed he was there. When patients or visitors did encounter him, they were struck by his kindness. He always had a gentle word for worried families or a comforting smile for frightened children. "Marcus is one of our most valuable employees," said Director of Operations Janet Foster. Patients specifically mention him in their satisfaction surveys. He has a gift for making people feel better during difficult times. Williams lived alone in a small apartment 10 minutes from the hospital. He had no family, few friends, and seemed to find all the human connection he needed within the hospital walls. His supervisor, Tom Rodriguez, often joked that Marcus knew the hospital better than anyone, every room, every hallway, every hidden corner of the massive medical complex. "He's been here longer than most of the doctors," Rodriguez said. "Patients trust him, staff respects him, and he knows this place inside and out. He's practically part of the furniture." But Marcus Williams had secrets that no one at Memorial Hospital could have imagined. Detective Sarah Kim had been investigating a series of unusual deaths for 8 months, and she was getting nowhere. 7 people, ranging in age from 32 to 71, had died under circumstances that seemed natural, but felt wrong. All had been patients at Memorial Hospital within 2 weeks of their deaths. All had been recovering well from their treatments, and all had died alone in their homes with no witnesses and no obvious signs of foul play. "The medical examiner keeps ruling them natural deaths," Kim told her partner, Detective Ray Santos, as they reviewed the files in the precinct conference room. "But the timing bothers me. These people were getting better, and then suddenly they're dead." The victims seemed random, different ages, different medical conditions, different neighborhoods. The only common thread was their connection to Memorial Hospital, but with thousands of patients treated there every month, it hardly seemed significant. "Maybe it's just coincidence," Santos suggested. "Hospitals see a lot of sick people. Some of them don't make it." But Kim's instincts told her otherwise. She'd requested a security assessment of Memorial Hospital, hoping that fresh eyes might spot something she'd missed. That's how Officer Carlos Martinez and his canine partner Ace became involved in what would become the most important case of their careers. Martinez and Ace arrived at Memorial Hospital on a Tuesday evening for their scheduled security assessment. The hospital had requested the evaluation as part of their annual safety review, wanting to ensure their security protocols were adequate for protecting patients, staff, and visitors. Ace was a 6-year-old German Shepherd with an exceptional nose and an even more exceptional temperament. He'd been trained in drug detection, explosive detection, and tracking, but his real gift was his ability to sense when something or someone didn't belong. "We'll start with the main floors and work our way through each department," Martinez explained to Security Chief Michael Webb, who was escorting them through the facility. "Ace will alert if he detects anything unusual: drugs, weapons, explosives, anything that might pose a security risk." The first 2 hours of the sweep went smoothly. Ace worked methodically through the emergency department, the surgical floors, and the intensive care units without any alerts. The hospital seemed secure, well managed, and properly maintained. They were on the 4th floor, checking the medical wards, when they encountered Marcus Williams. Williams was mopping the hallway outside the cardiac unit when Martinez and Ace rounded the corner. The janitor looked up with his characteristic gentle smile, nodding politely at the officers. "Evening, officers," Williams said softly. "Hope you don't mind me working around you. I try to keep the floors clean for the patients." "No problem," Martinez replied. "We're just doing a routine security check." That's when Ace's behavior changed completely. The German Shepherd, who had been calm and professional throughout the evening, suddenly stopped dead in his tracks. His ears went back, His tail dropped, and he began backing away from Williams, while emitting a low, continuous growl that made Martinez's skin crawl. "Ace, easy," Martinez said, trying to understand what had triggered his partner's reaction. But Ace's response only intensified. The dog crouched low, hackles raised, staring at Williams with an intensity that bordered on terror. This wasn't his alert posture for drugs or weapons. This was pure fear and aggression, as if he'd encountered something that threatened him on a primal level. Williams stepped back, looking concerned. "Is the dog okay? Maybe I should move to a different floor while you finish your work." "That won't be necessary," Martinez said, though he was deeply troubled by Ace's reaction. "Ace is very well trained. I've never seen him behave like this." Security Chief Webb was equally puzzled by Ace's reaction to Williams. "Marcus has been here for 12 years, he told Martinez. "He's never had any problems with staff, patients or visitors. Everyone loves him." But Martinez trusted his partner's instincts completely. Ace had never shown fear or aggression toward an innocent person, and his reaction to Williams was unlike anything Martinez had ever witnessed. "I need to run a background check on Mr. Williams," Martinez told Webb, "and I'd like to see his employee records, work schedule, and any areas of the hospital where he has access." Webb looked uncomfortable. "Officer Martinez, Marcus Williams is one of our most trusted employees. I'm not sure we can justify that level of scrutiny based on a dog's reaction." "Dogs don't lie," Martinez replied firmly. "Ace is telling me that something about this man is dangerous. I need to find out what." Martinez called Detective Kim, explaining Ace's unusual behavior and requesting a full investigation into Williams's background. Kim, who had been struggling with her serial killer case, was intrigued by the connection to Memorial Hospital. "Williams has access to the entire hospital," Kim noted during her meeting with Martinez the next morning. "He works nights, when security is minimal and patient rooms are less supervised. And he's been here for 12 years, long enough to know every routine, every blind spot." The background check on Marcus Williams revealed information that made Kim's blood run cold. Before working at Memorial Hospital, Williams had been employed at 3 other medical facilities in different states. At each location, there had been a cluster of unexplained patient deaths shortly before Williams moved on to his next job. "He's never been charged with anything," Kim explained to the task force that had assembled to investigate. "But the pattern is undeniable. Wherever Marcus Williams works, people die." More disturbing was the discovery that Williams had been present at the hospital during or shortly before each of the 7 suspicious deaths Kim had been investigating. His work logs showed he had cleaned rooms in the same wings where the victims had been treated. He had access to their medical records, their room numbers, their treatment schedules, Detective Santos observed. He could have learned everything he needed to know about them. But they still needed concrete evidence. Williams was too smart to leave obvious traces of his crimes, and the victims had died in their homes, not at the hospital. The connection was circumstantial at best. That's when Martinez suggested using Ace to search Williams' workspace. Armed with a warrant, Martinez and Ace returned to Memorial Hospital to search Williams' locker and work areas. The janitor was not on duty, having called in sick for the first time in years after learning about the investigation. Williams' locker was in the basement maintenance area, a dimly lit space that most hospital staff never visited. When Martinez opened the metal locker, Ace immediately alerted, his body going rigid as he focused on something inside. The locker appeared to contain typical work items, uniforms, cleaning supplies, a few personal belongings. But when Martinez began examining the contents more carefully, he found a small wooden box hidden behind the uniforms. Inside the box were items that made Martinez's heart race: jewelry, photographs, and personal effects that clearly belonged to different people. Each item was carefully labeled with a date and what appeared to be initials. "These are trophies," Kim said when Martinez called her to the scene. "He's been keeping souvenirs from his victims." A more thorough search of Williams' work areas revealed additional evidence. Hidden in his cleaning cart was a small vial containing a clear liquid that field tests suggested was a powerful paralytic agent. Medical records showed that Williams had requested and received supplies that weren't normally used by custodial staff. Marcus Williams was arrested at his apartment early the next morning. When presented with the evidence found in his locker, his calm facade finally cracked. "I never meant to hurt anyone," Williams said during his interrogation. "I was trying to help them. Some people suffer so much in hospitals. I could see their pain, their fear. I was ending their suffering." The confession revealed the horrifying scope of Williams' crimes. Over 12 years, he had killed at least 15 patients and former patients, using his access to medical records to identify vulnerable targets. He would inject them with paralytics while they were recovering at home, making their deaths appear natural. He saw himself as an angel of mercy, Detective Kim explained to the media, but he wasn't mercy killing terminal patients. He was murdering people who were recovering, who had their whole lives ahead of them. Williams revealed that he would visit victims at their homes after they'd been discharged, claiming to be checking on their welfare. Once inside, he would administer the lethal injection and wait for them to die, sometimes staying to watch their final moments. Dr. Jennifer Walsh, a forensic psychologist who studied criminal behavior, was brought in to analyze how Ace had detected Williams' crimes when no human had suspected anything. Dogs can smell chemical traces that linger on clothing and skin, she explained. Ace likely detected the paralytic agent that Williams handled regularly, combined with stress hormones and other chemical markers associated with his criminal activities. But Williams seemed so calm and friendly, Martinez pointed out. Psychopaths are excellent at controlling their surface behavior, Dr. Walsh replied, but they can't control their biological signatures. Dogs respond to chemical and hormonal cues that humans can't perceive. Ace was reacting to the scent of death and violence that clung to Williams. The case became a landmark study in how K9 units could detect serial killers who had evaded traditional investigation methods. As Williams' confession led investigators to more evidence, the true scope of his crimes became clear. 15 confirmed murders across 4 states, with several other suspicious deaths still under investigation. The families of Williams' victims struggled to understand how a seemingly kind hospital worker could have targeted their loved ones. Many remembered Williams fondly from their hospital stays, recalling his gentle manner and caring attitude. "He seemed like an angel," said Patricia Moore, whose husband had been one of Williams' victims. "He was so kind to us during Harold's treatment. I never would have suspected." How do you process that the person who seemed to care about your husband actually killed him? Williams had specifically targeted patients who lived alone or had limited family support, people whose deaths would be less likely to trigger extensive investigation. His knowledge of their medical conditions allowed him to time his attacks when the deaths would seem most natural. Williams' trial captivated the nation, highlighting the vulnerability of patients and the trust placed in healthcare workers. The prosecution argued that Williams had used his position to prey on the most vulnerable members of society. Marcus Williams wasn't a mercy killer, prosecutor David Chen told the jury. He was a predator who used his access to sick and vulnerable people to satisfy his need to control life and death. Without the alert from a police dog, he would have continued killing indefinitely. The defense attempted to portray Williams as a mentally ill man who genuinely believed he was helping his victims. But the evidence of premeditation and the trophies he collected from victims undermined any claim of mercy killing. Williams was convicted on 15 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Memorial Hospital implemented sweeping reforms in response to the Williams case. New background check procedures were established for all employees, and access controls were tightened to prevent unauthorized contact with patients. "This tragedy has forced us to reconsider our security protocols," said new hospital administrator Dr. Lisa Rodriguez. "We can never let our guard down when it comes to protecting our patients." The case led to nationwide changes in hospital security, with many medical facilities adding K9 security sweeps and enhanced employee monitoring systems. Ace received numerous awards for his role in exposing Williams, including recognition from the American Hospital Association for his contribution to patient safety. His ability to detect a serial killer who had evaded human detection for years became a case study in law enforcement training programs. "Ace saved lives that we didn't even know were in danger," Martinez said during an awards ceremony. His instincts detected evil that was hiding behind kindness and trust. The partnership between Martinez and Ace continued with enhanced respect for the dog's abilities to sense threats that humans couldn't perceive. 3 years after Williams' arrest, Martinez and Ace continued their work with a deeper understanding of how evil could hide in the most trusted places. Their security sweeps at hospitals, schools, and other institutions were taken more seriously by administrators who understood that threats could come from anywhere. "The Williams case taught us that monsters don't always look like monsters," Martinez reflected. "Sometimes they look like the people we trust most. But animals like Ace can see through any disguise because they respond to truth, not appearance." Their work led to several other investigations where Ace's alerts exposed criminal activity in trusted institutions, always guided by the lesson learned at Memorial Hospital, that evil could hide behind the kindest smile. I still get chills thinking about that night when Ace backed away from Marcus Williams in that hospital hallway. If Martinez had dismissed his partner's reaction as stress or confusion, if he'd forced Ace to ignore his instincts and continue the routine security check, a serial killer would have continued operating with perfect cover for years to come. Williams had found the perfect hunting ground, a place where people came when they were at their most vulnerable, where death was common enough that a few extra victims wouldn't raise immediate suspicion, where his kind demeanor and trusted position gave him access to potential victims and their personal information. Ace's story teaches us something chilling about the nature of evil and trust. The people we encounter in hospitals, schools, and other care facilities have tremendous power over our lives and the lives of our loved ones. Most use that power to heal and help, but some use it to harm. The difference isn't always visible to human eyes, but it's always detectable to a nose that can smell the truth. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had an animal react with fear or aggression to someone that everyone else found trustworthy and kind? Have you seen a dog or cat show unusual hostility toward a caregiver, service worker, or authority figure? These reactions might be more important warning signs than we realize. Share your experiences in the comments below, because at Saved by Tails, we believe that our four-legged protectors can detect dangers that completely fool our human judgment. If Ace's incredible story moved you, if it made you think differently about trusting animal instincts over human impressions, please share this video with others who work in or frequent places where we're supposed to feel safe. Hit that like button, subscribe to Saved by Tails, and help us continue telling the stories of animals whose instincts protect us from predators who hide behind the faces we trust most. Thank you for watching, and remember, sometimes the most dangerous people are the ones everyone loves, and sometimes our greatest protectors are the ones who growl when everyone else smiles.